What's up, people? We are live with the MMA Mainstream Podcast that's broadcasting. How about that? I'm James with Kaelyn, as always. You went to some fights last week, so we didn't have a show.
Right.
We will discuss that a little bit later, though. But first, we're going to start with Bellator because Bellator is right away. Bellator should be going on. It's probably going on now, but might broadcast within the next hour. So we'll go ahead and jump into that real quick. In the main card, we have Cris Cyborg. That's all that matters. I don't care who she's fighting. I'm picking Cyborg. But we will go through the card real quick to make our picks, so that way we don't make picks and they've already fought, and then it's just bad. So we have Tyrell Fortune versus Lyndon Vasile. I'm going to pick Fortune.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this other guy's has almost 30 fights under his belt.
That's true. He has the better record, but I believe Fortune has fought the better opponents.
Okay.
I know he holds a win over Matt Mitrione.
Yeah.
And so, better quality. That's what I was going off of.
I'm more familiar with Fortune for sure. So I'm going to go with the other one just because.
All right.
Yeah.
Not a problem. And then we have Aaron Pico versus Justin Gonzalez. I want to go Pico just because of the pedigree, but yet you have Justin Gonzalez who's 12-0. So it's really a mix-up. It's a toss-up.
I'm going
to
go with Pico still.
You're going to go with Pico?
Yeah.
Then you know what? I'll go with Gonzalez.
Okay.
If Pico wins, I won't be mad. I mean, we'll discuss that a little later because my Jedi mind trick worked.
I guess.
And then we have Arlene Bilingal versus Pam Sorensen. 14-8 versus 9-3.
This is 145. I'm familiar with Arlene. I can't even really make. I guess my educated guess would go with Arlene.
Based off of experience?
Yeah.
Or...
that, and then I've seen her fight a couple times, so that's why.
You know what?
The other one, I have no idea.
I'll make that pick as well. I'll join you in that. And then we have the main event, Cris Cyborg versus Sinead.
Probably
Sinead.
Sinead Kavanaugh.
Sinead? Is that it? Kavanaugh?
I guess. I don't know.
I thought it was Sinead. I was thinking like Sinead O'Connor.
I don't know. It could be right.
Well, you know what? I'm not picking her anyway, so it doesn't matter. Actually, it is Sinead because she's from Ireland. It's Sinead.
I think Cris Cyborg will tear her apart.
Same. So those are our quick picks for the Bellator card that's going on now, as far as I know, but not sure if it's broadcasting yet on Showtime. So you guys still have time to check that out. Those are our picks. Go Cyborg. The end. I'm a huge fan. Everyone knows it's never a hidden thing. Now we're going to discuss a little bit about our picks from 2 weeks ago on the Jon fight. Him versus Glover Teixeira.
Feels like a year ago, but okay.
Right? It does feel like forever.
I know.
So you went 5. You got 5 for the picks right. I got 4, but my Jedi mind trick worked because I wanted Glover to win, and he did. So I took an L so he can get the W. Yes.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Yes. Go Glover. You're the man. You did it. I was so ecstatic to hear about that he got the win. No, I wasn't surprised.
No.
I was just happy.
Yeah, I was surprised. Well,
why were you surprised? As somebody who's seen him enough, I knew he could do it. And I'm glad he did it.
Well, as of late, he's become this crazy. All of a sudden, he's I don't know the word to describe it. Lately, he's been just demolishing people, even though he's already fought for a long time. Very good fighter the whole time, anyways. But as of late, watching him knock out the teeth of Anthony Smith was like, holy shit, who is what happened? This guy is getting better with age. So but also the age. I'm like, I don't know how long this can go on for. I don't know how many fighters he could do this to, but right now is definitely his time, which is odd because he's like, what, 40, something like that.
I want to say 42.
42, yeah, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Anyways, 40.
But regardless, I'm glad he was able to become a champion.
Yeah, the story is really cool when you think about it. So I like that's cool. Jon is a new champion, so we don't know a whole lot about what is in store for him later on. And I don't know if they're going to rematch or whatever the deal is for that right now. Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. Now I'm just wondering how long Glover can keep this belt. He beat Jon.
If he does say 2 or 3 defenses and something happens, I mean, hopefully nothing bad. Let's be honest. Hopefully nothing terrible. You know, I think that would be a pretty successful reign for somebody that it took so long for them to reach that apex of their division.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I was a little surprised. I'll say, I was surprised. I knew how good he was, but I'm surprised, but it's such a good story, though, to see him get the belt after so long. And Jon is good, too. He's definitely proven that he belongs in the spot that he was in. So I'm really curious to see what happens. I know he's the younger fighter, but...
so he'll bounce back easy. That's
it's just weird to even see someone else have the belt in that division still to me, because Jon Jones had it for so long, even though he's had his fiascos and still is apparently, and
he'll be mentioned on the show a little bit later too, so stay tuned, folks.
So it's a little weird, and I don't know, we'll see where the belt goes, because I've seen before in some weight divisions where the reigning champ is not there for whatever reason, and the belt just gets tossed around a bunch. So I wonder if the belt's going to stay with Glover, go back to Jon, or what's going to happen to the division and the rankings after this. So I don't know. We'll see if he can keep the belt. If not, it's just another one of those, after Rousey left the 135 division, left UFC, the belt got tossed around a little bit,
almost like a transitional champion.
Yeah, because she lost the belt to Holly Holm. Holly Holm lost her belt to Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate lost it to Nunes, who is now the reigning champ, but it kind of went around a little bit. So I think it'll be a while before we see the next reigning champ of the light heavyweight division. So we'll see what happens. I think Glover's in his prime, I guess you could say. I know I think
he's still riding that.
He's the best he's ever been.
Like
he's the best.
Most would be at the tail end, but he seems to be doing pretty consistent. So, hopefully he'll get with the belt. Hopefully he'll have some good title defenses and keep it for a while, so that way he's more of a memorable champion than a one-off. I don't want him to be a one-off because it took him so long to get there. But regardless, he got there, so props to him. And like I said earlier in the picks, my mind trick worked. Because he won.
Yeah. So good for him. That I was surprised. So I was surprised, but not really, because he deserved it. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I haven't seen Jon enough, fight too much to know. I feel like I haven't paid attention to him like I would a champion. So I don't know. I don't know. That whole pick was kind of, I want to say a toss-up, but it kind of was, because how good Glover was doing, and Jon was the new champion. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right. And then there was the pay-per-view last week. There was so many fights going on last week. There was UFC. There was boxing with Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. And then for those of you from Central California, there was Fresno State football having a giant brawl in their crowd. That was like the only fight I missed that weekend. I was actually super disappointed until I saw the video on social media. But that was interesting. But we're going to talk about, boxing. The only thing you need to know, Canelo won. The end. A guy from our neck of the woods competed, and we found out he was from Fresno. And we were like, yeah, yeah, go. And then the guy he fought was from Flint, Michigan. I'm like, dude, they don't have water there. This dude's seen harder times. He's gonna knock this fool out.
Harder.
And it happened. He wound up his punch, like he circled and then popped him and dropped him. And I was like, dude, that looked like something Popeye would do.
Yeah. Wind it up.
Yep. And then Canelo won.
Yes.
I appreciate boxing for what it is, but I'm like, really? That's
surprised.
it? He's over. That's done?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But it is what it is. But let's move on to happier things, UFC. And last week's card didn't disappoint, especially we're going to talk about a prelim fight that was shocked the hell out of me. And that was Chris Barnett, Beast Boy, who did it was a roundhouse kick, right?
It was a spinning back kick.
Spinning back kick, thank you.
Yeah.
And floored his opponent. That blew my mind. And then
yeah, what's up with the screen here? Did they mess up his name and switch it over?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's refresh. See what happens.
Why is it like that?
Let me go back to it. And this fight was on the early prelims. No, it's their website. It's just messed up.
I'm like, what are they doing here?
because of his fight was so disappointing. They're like, we're just going to mark him out. I'm surprised they don't have the shadow that they do for some fighters. They don't have photos of. They're like, you're
the TBD shadow.
You're a huge disappointment. We don't want to see you.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. Beast Boy looked phenomenal with that knockout. That was definitely highlight worthy.
Yeah, that guy. That guy's funny. I guess he's really good in Taekwondo. It's where one of his main foundations where he came from. So he's, it's weird because of the size that he is, but the flexibility and the coordination
was all there. And what's also surprising is to see somebody using Taekwondo. That's something that really hasn't been utilized in MMA. I mean, there are fighters that have used karate, even styles of kung fu, but not Taekwondo.
Yeah, but someone of that size is she's a good dancer too. Oh man.
That's true. He did dance on his way out. Yeah.
I was like, something's gonna happen here. This is interesting. And then went in there and he threw some pretty interesting moves, and I was like, whoa, I wonder if anything is gonna come to anything or end up, landing. And then he pulled that out. So even his opponent was like, I can't even be mad at that. Like, that's crazy. So I love that guy. Yeah, that was a good fight. Very, very, very entertaining.
I do look forward to what Chris Barnett has to offer in his next fight.
Yes.
Like, who are they going to match him up with next? Because he's a heavyweight. He's got a lot of strong fighters in that division.
Yes.
So I'm curious as to what's next. What can we see from Beast Boy? We're going to see another highlight knockout.
I bet everyone is
Are we going to see a tough test? Oh, of course. Of course. Especially to make your debut like that.
Yeah, crazy.
I just want to say real quick that Jordan Williams looks like one of those Island Boy guys from is it TikTok?
I don't know where they came from.
Instagram.
I'm seeing them everywhere. And then
he's an Island Boy.
Yeah. Before you move on, Dustin Jacoby, I don't know did you catch that fight by chance?
I did not.
You didn't. Okay. Well, I'm a huge fan of his. He came from Glory Kickboxing. That's why I'm a huge fan of his. He's been on fire lately. I don't know his opponent.
His opponent looks like a young Jens Pulver.
True. But Dustin Jacoby has done really, really well in his last few fights. So I'm a huge fan. I was a fan of I don't know if I was a fan of him when he was in Glory. I knew of him from Glory. Now I'm a fan because he transitioned from that to this, and he's doing so well, and he's really tough. So I can't wait to see what happens next for him. I'm hoping he fights a ranked opponent next. So that fight was interesting also. I was happy to see him win that one.
All right, now we're going to jump to the main card. We didn't do picks for this, but we are going to talk about the fights and what our thoughts were about the fights. This fight that I just popped up, Justin Gaichi versus Michael Chandler, was worth the price of admission For the pay-per-view, it was worth the price of admission for a ticket. I don't care who you are and how much you paid. That fight was amazing.
Yeah, after
that
the
was a war.
After that fight, I'm like, I just got all my money back with the first fight of the main card.
That's it. This fight was a complete war of attrition, and it was who was going to give first. And we got to the point where we found out it was going to be Michael Chandler, because when he started to try to use his wrestling, that's when you knew, okay, that something's wrong.
Well, he also got hit pretty damn hard.
Well, of course, but that's when you knew that if he's not going to stand and bang, like, he's resorting to his bread and butter.
Yeah. Or, I don't even know what you can call his bread and butter. He's just pretty good all around, I think.
He's a strong wrestler. That's what I'm referring to.
But you could tell when someone tries to take you down, they don't want to stand up with you at least for a minute. You know what I mean? So, this fight was insane. Justin Gaichi did what he always does, though. That's him. He might be too tough for his own good at some point, but right now it's very entertaining. Michael Chandler was able to stand up with him to do that. And for it to come out a decision instead of someone getting finished it just shows how tough both of them are. I would love to see both of them fight again at some point. Chandler, I don't know what's next for him. He deserves the, big fights from here on out.
He deserves nothing but great accolades, but yet this is his second fight that he's lost. He needs
but man, the fights that he lost, though, they're not bad.
They're not schlub fights. No, they're not, and they're not to terrible opponents. One's to the champ, and the other's to number 2 ranked Justin Gaethje. But you still need wins. Wins are what matter.
Oh,
so he needs a win in his next fight.
Yeah, but the fights he's been in, he's not going anywhere. So I wonder what's going to happen to him based off just this fight anyways.
All right. Well, this fight was amazing. As you heard it from us, both highly praised it. If you haven't seen this fight, go look up highlights, buy the pay-per-view, watch this fight.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Very well. Yes, very much so. And then we had Shane Burgos get the win by unanimous decision over didn't pop up the name again. Corintillo.
Yeah. So I knew that what's unfortunate is these guys got put after Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler because
which is another thing. That Gaethje fight, I feel like you have the 2 title fights. That should have been right after that.
Yeah.
You just pop that right there. But they had that as the open, which was nuts because it worked. Like,
yeah,
it planted asses in seats. Let's be real.
You know why they did that is I think they actually originally wanted them 1 spot higher. Trevor Whitman coached 3 fighters, 1 champion. So he had the co-main and main event. Trevor Whitman did as a coach. So he wanted some time in between his 3 fighters. So they moved Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler so that there was a gap to get his other 2 fights
makes sense.
ready. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, well, good thing. But I just see Trevor Whitman in everyone's corner now. So
yeah, because everyone trains there.
I know, because he's such a good coach and he's very busy, and I don't know how many more he could take on. That's crazy. Good for him.
I feel like he's the coach of the moment because it seems like that's always been.
Does he have a coach's award? Because he deserves one. And
for this year, let's be real, he'll probably get it too. But
can they add that to the Hall of Fame? Because I would love to see that, and he deserves to be in it, I think.
There's a lot of fighters a lot of coaches that need to belong in the Hall of Fame as well as him.
He's one of them, for sure.
Completely agree.
But yeah, anyway, that's why that happened. But
okay. I'm glad you explained it because I had no idea. Me and my friends were talking about like, why is this fight at the bottom of this? It should be higher.
I heard it on news sources, so that's why they did that.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We had Shane Burgos win by unanimous decision.
This fight was crazy too. Good striking. Unfortunately, it was after the Michael Chandler fight, so I wouldn't say it's boring because it wasn't. It would have been a very, very, very exciting fight on any other fight card. Besides,
it just happened to follow that fight, and so it's not
yeah.
as appealing compared to the previous bout.
I mean, it still was. It delivered, but after that, it's like, okay, like you're on such a high from that first fight. Watching this one was good too, but you're like, definitely wasn't the last one, but it was still very good.
All right, go ahead and move up the card. Frankie Edgar versus Chito Vera.
Marlon Chito Vera.
Man,
what'd you think of this one?
I was flabbergasted when I saw that front kick get used.
Really?
I was like, whoa, because I just didn't think, it's in most fighters' arsenal, but they don't use it very often. I mean, we've seen Anderson Silva use it, but who else really? And so to see him just come out, and then have you seen the photo of Frankie Edgar's jaw? Oh.
Well, his face falls off for a little bit, and then
I feel bad for him.
Oh, you know why I feel bad is he actually took another bad knee to the head, just like his other previous fight. So I wasn't surprised to see that front kick to the face because I think that Chito Vera felt like he had the advantage there and he could get away with bold moves like that after landing. I don't know if it was exactly a flying knee. I don't remember. It could have been, but I don't know if you remember Frankie Edgar getting knocked out by a crazy flying knee in his last fight, and this almost the same thing, not as bad, but it happened. He didn't get knocked out, but that front kick happened after that. So, I'm not surprised for Chito Vera trying to do that because you get a little bit of confidence after landing another knee off someone that got kneed like that before. So you're like, oh, maybe I could, I could do these. Maybe it was a boost of confidence to throw that and land
especially to just throw it, and especially so late in the fight.
That's why I said his confidence got built up pretty high.
Oh, you developed to that, got to that point.
Once you get like I noticed in fights, the ones that I have done, nothing compared to these pros, but when you feel yourself landing your shots, you get a boost of confidence. So like, oh, let me try this because I've always wanted to do it and see what happens. That may have been a moment like that too. I just know you get, when you're landing and you think you are winning, you will try more things that maybe you wouldn't before, but always wanted to. You're like, well, I got away with that. Let me see what else I can get away with.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was a phenomenal performance by him. That kick, man.
Yeah. That's great.
Devastating.
For him. And you know what? I'm not surprised. He's good. He's a very good fighter. Frankie Edgar is a good fighter as well. He's just.
Now, where do you think, how far up do you think Vera should go? Does he go to Frankie Edgar's spot at number 8?
Around there, yeah. Maybe not Frankie Edgar's spot, but give him up to 10.
Why? He beat him.
Give him to 10. Right.
All right, we'll see what happens with that. I'm surprised they haven't had anything come out about that yet, but I imagine they will. And then we had the ladies fight. Yes. Thug Rose, Nama Yunus versus, I just blanked right now on her name. Wei Li. Thank you. This fight, I wasn't sure what to expect from it. Really, I was just kind of like,
we didn't know based off.
We didn't do a pick, so I was just like, oh, let's go with the flow. I did pick the champ going in because I was like, well, she's the champ for a reason, and she did really well against her last time. So
yeah, but also I know Zhang Weili is not a bad fighter, and that just
not at all.
She, I thought for sure that's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen to Zhang Weili in any other fight ever again because she is so good that she's in the spot that she's in because she's a smart fighter. She's not going to let that happen again, especially not with the same opponent. So she was a different fighter coming in. Also, super impressed. She had been training with Henry Cejudo for this fight. I don't know when she started training with him, maybe after the last loss that she had, but
probably.
Yeah, but she was working with Henry Cejudo, and you could tell that this striker became a very good wrestler as well, probably taking the advice of Henry Cejudo. So you got to see her be really, really well-rounded in this fight. But Rose just did very well also. So I don't know what's gonna happen next. And I honestly didn't have a pick for this fight. I didn't know because I didn't know how Zhang Weili was gonna come back from that previous loss. I knew it wasn't gonna happen again like that.
This was more of a wild card fight than just kind of a, oh, here it is, black and white.
Yeah, but Rose has this thing where when she beats you, she'll beat you again, you know?
She's got your number.
Yes. Yep.
That was that fight, and Rose is still the champ. She won by split decision. What did you think about that?
Man, it was a close fight. It really, really was. I think she definitely had the edge. I think you could see she had the edge, though. I think maybe it came down to the ground game where she ended up in the more dominant position. But I wasn't surprised it was a split, but I wasn't surprised that she won either. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think she had the edge.
All right, I gotcha.
And it came down to like one or maybe one round that they did, you know? So it was a good fight. I hate when these good fights happen. It's like I want to see them back in there soon, and you know it's not going to be soon. So
it might be a few months, but still, it was a competitive fight.
You're never going to get this card anytime soon ever again. You know? Very true.
And now, especially with this main event, we had Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington.
Did you say Carl?
I said Kamaru.
Yeah.
Usman versus Colby Covington, the Nigerian Nightmare. That guy, I was worried for a second because I wanted Usman to win. Covington hung in there.
Yeah.
Looked way better than he did in their compared to their previous bout. Man.
I feel like the same thing happened. Almost. Kamaru's strikes were hitting Colby a lot more than obviously his was.
He hits hard.
That's
like it seemed like every strike was just hard.
It was clean, it was straight, and it was hard, and it hit right where he wanted to hit it. I don't know. I'm concerned for Colby Covington's jaw at this point. I don't know. Obviously, it wasn't broken.
Oh, no, you shouldn't. Yeah, he was still running that mouth after the fights.
Right, so obviously it didn't break, but his chin has gotten hit so much by this one guy in both of their fights. So, I'm not surprised Kamaru won. I was worried for him because since he didn't put him out in the first couple rounds, and then Colby Covington somehow still had energy and still was landing shots as well. I think Kamaru's, I want to say he's probably been in the most trouble he's ever been in. So
I feel like that's the case too, because there was moments you're like, ooh.
Yeah, but man, he held it together like it didn't happen. So I was impressed. I was impressed the last fight because he did so well. Now he's still in his prime. He's still on top. I don't think anything's really going to happen to him anytime soon. Colby Covington, man, I don't know what you do with him. He was number 1. He already had 2 title shots at this point.
I think you have him fight against somebody who's trying to make their ascent up to the number 1 spot.
So he's a placeholder now? I don't know what to think of him anymore.
You can't have him rematch the champ right away. I feel like unless the fight was closer, if the fight was close, I mean, if he deserves to be there, he deserves to be there. But if the fight was closer, then have him go run it back pretty quick. But
it was unanimous.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So until then, you have Covington fight somebody who's, trying to make their way up, or hell, somebody calls him out on Twitter. Okay, let's make this fight. Screw it.
Do that because no one's doing it.
That's because they're scared of him verbally.
They might get more publicity doing that. They should do it.
That's true. You're right. I agree.
But what bugs me is he got finished their first fight, and he lost again. I don't expect a rematch. Anytime soon. No. Yeah. So I don't know. I wasn't even sold on the fact that he was fighting him again after that finish in the first fight.
Dana White made the comment that if Usman wasn't around, Covington would be the champ.
I
What do you
don't
think
know
about that?
I don't know about that. We have to see him fight more people first. I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe he's right, but I didn't feel that way. So I don't know. Who do you think would be a next really good fight for him? That would be tough.
I would say anybody from ranked 5th to 2nd, since on here he's still number 1. So anybody that's in the top 5, give them the chance to take that spot.
Do you think Covington is interested in fighting anybody else at this point?
After getting his ass, or he didn't get his ass whooped. I mean,
well,
he lost a decision. Yes, that is correct. He did lose a decision, so I think does he want to get the W back? Yes. So I don't know if he would just be willing to fight anybody.
I don't know.
I know he probably wants to try and maintain that spot, but this competition that he's going to have is stiff because of where he's at in that spot. That's why I say top 5.
Yes, definitely top 5. I just wonder when he's even interested in coming back. I feel like he only wanted the belt because he didn't. I mean, did he fight anybody after getting finished by Kamaru the first time? I don't remember.
I do not recall offhand.
I know he fought Tyron Woodley, but that was way before Kamaru, right? Right?
Yep.
I don't remember. Okay, maybe, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm expecting to not hear anything about Colby Covington for a long time.
At least for a few weeks.
Whatever he tries to pull next to get stay relevant, we'll see.
Yeah. So that was that card. It was a great card. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Highly recommend it. Phenomenal card. And then we have, of course, it's the UFC. So what does that mean? We have fights this weekend. Yay!
Great.
All right. We're going to go and do our picks real quick. We have, it's not even showing up on here. Great. Thanks, UFC website.
Well, that's Song Yadong.
Song Yadong versus...
Who is the other guy?
Let's see. Versus Julio Arce.
Can't say.
And we have 17-5 and 1 no contest. 1 and 1 no contest for Song. And 17-4. Both fighters are coming off wins. Ooh, man. Really close in records.
Yeah.
Song is ranked.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Song. He's on Team Alpha Male. They tend to do really well.
That he is, and I also am picking him.
I also don't know anything about the other guy, though. So Song Yadong is definitely trying to make a name for himself now, being ranked number 15. We'll see how far he can climb in the ranks. But the team he's on is doing pretty well. So.
It's a great team, regardless. Yep. So moving up the card, we have Miguel Baza versus Chaos Williams. Wow, that's an interesting name.
Is that his actual name? Yeah,
Chaos. Yeah. We have 10-1 versus 12-2.
Wow.
Miguel's coming off of a loss. Chaos is coming off of a win. His nickname is the Ox Fighter. He doesn't need a nickname. His name's Chaos, for crying out loud.
I thought his first name was a nickname, but okay.
Right? No, that's his nickname. That's his name. That sounds like a nickname, but that's his name. Caramel Thunder.
That's great. That sounds like
that's a strong nickname. That sounds like he does not do fighting for a profession.
Exactly. It sounds like I feel like a stripper name.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I'm sure he may have been an exotic dancer early on. He wasn't sure about what he wanted to do with his career.
Yeah.
Anyways, who do you pick for this bout?
I'll go with Chaos Williams.
Yeah. I'm going to do the same. Coming off of a win, a slightly better record. I think his confidence is barely, but yet I think the confidence will be a factor for that.
2 fights, sorry. Yeah.
Unless Caramel Thunder got tipped really well before, at some bachelorette party that he performed at. I don't know.
I feel like he does that on the side.
And he could. I mean, he's got the chiseled features for it. He could pull it off. Women love that stuff, from what I understand.
From what I hear.
Yeah, because I rock the dad bod, and I can't tell you if a woman's ever flirting with me. So, yeah. All right, moving up the card, we have Felicia Spencer versus Leah Letzin. 8-3 versus 5-2. Spencer's coming off of a loss, while Letzin's coming off of a win.
Yeah.
And Letzin doesn't use the submission route. She likes to strike or go the distance.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Felicia Spencer. She is great. She fought Cyborg, went all 5 rounds with her, didn't die, and cut her open pretty good. So I'm going with Felicia Spencer.
I am going to do the
same. Come out on top every time. So
I feel like that the experience that Spencer has over what Letzin has is a tremendous help. Given it's only a few more fights, still.
Yeah, I can
and
tell you
better
who
opponents
Letzin has fought either. So
better opponents because Chris Cyborg being the prime example.
Yeah, she headlined a card already. So yeah. Also fighting Cyborg. I don't know how much tougher you can get, so we'll see. But I'm pretty sure Felicia Spencer will get this one.
I agree, and we'll see what happens after this weekend. We have the match of the heavyweights. Ben Rothwell, who I'm kind of surprised is still fighting. Really? He randomly makes appearances, it feels like.
Yeah, he does.
At 39-13 versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who is 18-8-1. Both fighters are coming off wins. Ben Rothwell is the big boy at 6'4". Oof.
Ben Rothwell is my pick. I know Marcos.
I'm not going to go against him. I feel like the wealth of experience.
This could go either way.
He is, yeah. Oh, I do agree with you, but just the vet in Rothwell, I feel like the more experienced fighter with the better fights. He's had the bigger fights. I'm going to go Rothwell on this.
Yeah, me too.
And then we're on to our main event where we have Holloway versus Rodriguez. Number 1 versus number 3. Holloway is 22-6, while Rodriguez is 13-2 with 1 no contest. Holloway is coming off of a win. It doesn't say anything for Rodriguez, unfortunately.
I don't remember his last fight, to be honest, either.
I don't either.
All
right.
But definitely taking Holloway. I don't see him losing. I guess anything could happen, but I don't think he's going to lose this one.
I don't disagree with you at all. Yeah, I think Max Holloway will get the W. And if I'm right, he won a community service award from the UFC recently.
What is that?
For his philanthropy that he does.
Which is what?
He donates his time and helps out in his community, and he's generous and helps people.
Do what?
I'm just trying to give you this. I don't have the specifics. I'm just trying to give you a general overview.
You made a pretty big headline there. I was just wondering what.
He's a good person and he helps people, and so they presented him with the community service award.
Oh, I
never
heard of such an award, but that's good.
I mean, that's just what I seen.
Off what site? Who told you? What source is that?
I want to say it was maybe his Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And it may have been the UFC's Instagram.
Probably.
Or maybe it was Twitter.
Maybe.
I'm starting to get. I'm getting old. This stuff's starting to blend together now. Well, one has pictures. I like that. All right. So those are our picks for the UFC that's going to be happening tomorrow night.
No, it's very early. So
is it? I thought it's not. Oh, right there, as I see it.
Yeah.
At 1 p.m. It's at 1.
Early prelims are at 10 a.m.
Where are they fighting that they keep doing this?
No, they're in Vegas.
What else is going? Is there something going on that we don't know about?
That's what I was just going to ask. I don't know what else is going to take up their time or ESPN's time. So I don't know.
No. All right. Well, moving on. In other MMA news, prominent MMA manager Jason House is facing criminal charges after an alleged assault against his father stemming from a financial dispute. Jason House is in the MMA community known here in the Central Valley because he represents quite a few fighters. He got into a situation with his father, and I hope it gets resolved quickly because, I mean, he is a predominant person in the MMA community locally in the way that he manages fighters. From this, I mean, you can read the article. This information is from MMA Junkie if all you guys want to check it out. I could do my interpretation of it. I don't want it to be wrong. So that information is there for you guys to look at and to break down yourselves. I just hope that this situation, it sucks that it happened. And you don't want to see that, especially with somebody who's been such a huge proponent for fighters and be in the way of being a manager and whatnot. So we'll see what happens, but it is what it is.
Oh,
and
they're discussing ownership of.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty serious.
He's the guy who runs it. He's the CEO and creator. So I feel like he has more entitlement than anybody else, but that's personal opinion.
Yeah, I guess it stems from moving the business to a different area, which would require different taxes and stuff like that. So.
That it does. All right, moving on. Now a fighter's in a situation. Usman Nurmagomedov, cousin of Khabib, is in trouble with the law. According to the report, it cites details from investigators that Nurmagomedov and a friend of his were asked to stop at a police checkpoint by the airport, and that their vehicle, when instructed to stop, instead sped up and went past a security barrier, running over a police officer who sustained injuries.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah, that sounds fishy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Nurmagomedov, we've seen him fight. He's been competing in Bellator. He's 3-0 in Bellator right now, 14-0 overall. Yeah. He's a good fighter, and you don't want to see anything crazy happen, but
I mean,
you gotta.
This is Russia, though. You never know, dude.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to run from those cops over there. I know that.
No.
So I wonder what the deal was and how bold you have to be to even make a move like that. There must have been something serious going on.
See, I'd be a horrible criminal. Like, I play Grand Theft Auto and I stop at the red lights in the game. So yeah, they're all, go shoot this person. I'm like, can we not? Can we talk about this and be civilized humans?
Yeah.
So I don't get very far.
Cops over there will stop anybody, but I mean, definitely don't run.
Exactly. No need to run.
Yeah.
It's super unnecessary.
Well, we'll see.
And yeah, we will see what happens with him and what goes down as it pertains to that. It does suck.
I wonder when he's going to get out. I don't know. They're sketchy over there.
I know, right? He's already in the gulag. You just don't know it.
Oh.
Gulag is Russian prison for those playing at home.
Yeah.
Not a good place. Not fun.
No, it's not.
All right. And then moving on, Jon Jones has found a new home. He has been, 4 weeks after he was banned from Jackson Wink MMA, he has moved on to Jackson's MMA Acoma. Oh. Well, he's moved on. It's to a Jackson affiliated gym, but that's where he is now training. And yeah,
he was forced to find a new home.
Yeah, which, you know what? I have no problem with the guys at the other gym going, you know what? We want you to come back, but yet you need to get it together. You're an adult. Figure it out.
Well, he's figuring it out.
And we don't want your drama.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There might be more drama.
There's always going to be drama. It's Jon Jones, one of the greatest. He's the GOAT, and yet there's always going to be something.
I think Jackson Wink held on the longest that they could for him.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think they let a lot of stuff slide, and then just like, you know what? That's a wrap, dude. We're done.
As a person, that's a wrap. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And we also still need to see what's going to happen with Jon Jones. Like, you know, we see him training here, but yet what else is he doing? Like,
I don't know. I don't even care almost. It's been so long, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's out of light heavyweight for sure. We don't even know what he's going to do at heavyweight. He claimed to want to be there, and I don't even know when he's going to fight ever in general.
The only thing he's fighting right now is court cases. That's the only thing. That's the only fight he's got lined up.
Yeah. I wonder when all this craziness is going to stop. I don't know.
I don't know. I think with the time that it takes for stuff to take place in the court system, he could probably get a fight in there.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
We shall see.
I'm not holding my breath for him anymore, that's for sure.
Right. Completely agree. And now we're going to move on to some things that are going on this weekend. One is actually going on tonight and could possibly be going on right now. And that's Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship with Hector Lombard. He's the cruiserweight champ. And then we have Dat Nguyen also competing. He's competing against Palomino in a featherweight championship bout. And then we have Britton Hart, who wasn't it Paige Van Zandt she beat up?
Yes.
Versus
Indeed.
Pearl Gonzalez, who you informed me. I didn't know much about Pearl Gonzalez until you told me to look up her Instagram.
You can find out everything you want about her.
Yeah, hey, for you folks that have Instagram, and you more than likely of the male persuasion. Hey, even some ladies out there, she's not bad to look at. Go check out her Instagram, look her up, and
let's just say she'll cater to you.
Oh yeah. So that's also.
Yeah, but anyway, what I was saying earlier is I am kind of impressed that she is as savage as she is, though, coming from doing stuff like that.
True.
She was in the UFC as well. That's why I knew of her in the first place, which is why I started following her. I just noticed that she has more posts about other things rather than fighting. But out of nowhere, she will post videos of her training. And I'm like, she's badass.
I'm curious, though. Let's play pretend. Say she gets beat up and bruised and bloodied. Would she still take a sexy picture for the gram?
I think so. I'm pretty sure she does that.
She's like, with a tooth missing because she needs to go to the dentist and get it put back in.
Probably.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Probably. I mean, her fans probably, they're all over the place.
I guess. Yeah.
Her male fans are probably fans of her fighting as well.
True.
I also don't think she's going to lose. I feel like she's very tough. I
feel like out of all the fights on this card, that's the fight to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just feel like Britton Hart's good, but I think Pearl has more of a little edge to her. I feel like Pearl's gonna win. I kind of hope so. I've been following her, so I'm rooting for her.
All right. I'm not picking anybody in this. I think it's going to be an interesting fight, and so I'm curious to see who does get the W in that.
Yeah, I expect Pearl to get this one, but we'll see.
We also have Mike Kyle on the card, former UFC fighter. There's a lot of former UFC fighters competing in here, as we all know. Also, Marcus Brimage is going to be making his debut. Okay. He was in the UFC. He was on the Ultimate Fighter quite some time ago. So that fight's going on as far as I know right now. And yeah, it's going on. It's live now.
There you go. Yeah.
And then locally, see. And then in Central California, where we are located, we have 559 fights happening tomorrow night at the Vasile Convention Center. I've talked about them numerous times because they're always having events. They're the bee's knees when it comes to amateur MMA. So if you want to go check out some great amateur MMA, go check them out. They know how to stack a card. They also have jiu-jitsu going on between certain bouts. And the jiu-jitsu is also good as hell. It's entertaining. I enjoy it. So I definitely recommend that. That's what's happening right now and this weekend. Now, you checked out fights last week since we didn't have a show. You went to the LFA card that happened to be at the Vasile Convention Center. And you saw a Big Al fight. You caught the main event and his fight. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
So and I'd never been to the Vasile Convention Center before.
What were your thoughts on the convention center itself?
I didn't know what to expect, but when you say convention center, I picture something maybe a little more bigger. And then, we get the tickets and it says section, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to go find I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe something like a Save Mart Arena or something like that. But I'm like, oh, when we got there by the time of the main event, not a whole lot of people were there, but I was like, oh, well, we can go sit where we want. But anyway, we had a good section, to be honest. We just didn't really look. But once we found it, we were actually pretty close to the stage, front row, almost like a VIP. Interesting. Gilbert Melendez does announcing for them or commentating for them. So got to see him. Main event was a Uriah Faber fighter. So that was interesting. And he won. So that was a good fight. And then Al's fight was after the main card as a post-lim. So he came out, got a knockout in the first, I think it was 36 seconds of the fight. So it was a very, very good night for him. And my gym, Manny Mancho's kickboxing gym, because that's where he's from. So it was a great, it was a great night for me. I was really excited. So I wasn't disappointed. We couldn't get there in time to see the other fights on the main card or the undercard. So I actually heard that they were pretty good too.
Right on.
I'm super excited. Al got his knockout. Classic straight punch. Guy went down.
Yeah, he hit him pretty flush. I saw some of the highlights from that fight, and
very clean.
That was a wrap.
Yeah, it was great. I think it's really good for Al. So I can't wait to see what he does next. I don't know. I don't know what organization it's going to be. Maybe LFA again. But it was good. And it was kind of funny because, after the main event, everyone leaves. But then once this fight happened, all hell broke loose again because it was so exciting. So for the people that were left there, it was very exciting, worth it. I hope people stayed. Some people stayed, to check that last fight out with Big Al. But it was really exciting. Super happy to see him win. It was I love those clean, knockouts. So,
oh yeah,
super excited.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, no, and it's great to see, from a striking perspective, to see basic fundamentals come through. So, I know this guy wasn't treating him very well before the fight, so it was extra satisfying to see him get knocked out. So,
all right, is there anything going on that you want to put out there?
No, nothing
right.
I have that is coming up anytime soon. But there is, I will say, I know it's November, but December, there is amateur Muay Thai coming to the Tower Theater, I believe.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, so that's going to be a very good card. Not sure if our gym has any fighters yet for that, or if it's in the works. I'm not sure, but that event should be good. And I plan on going. So we'll see. So that I know that's coming up. That's an amateur kickboxing, amateur Muay Thai. So that's about it though. So I'll keep an eye on that and see.
I also am going to need a kickboxing shirt from your gym because I've seen what he's put out on Instagram, and that's some of the most creative shirts I've ever seen. And I would definitely rock one of those.
Which one did you like so far?
I'm a dork. I love the Power Rangers one. The Death Row one was clever.
The Death Row one I think might be my favorite.
Yeah. Just putting it out there like, hey, what's up?
I will remind me and I'll grab one for you.
I appreciate that. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us here at the MMA Mainstream Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.